Hello, everybody. So I get really excited about showing my friend Chris Jordan's artwork. He's an amazing guy. And what he really wants to do is to show things that you can't see, but that are really important. So I'm just going to jump right in and show you some of his stuff. This is an older presentation that he's made, and he's done a lot of other ones. I really recommend you check out his stuff. So this is a famous painting, French painting. I believe it's Renoir, of a French scene at a park in the 1800s. And it kind of represents that sort of pixelated Seurat pointillism that they did back then, that everyone was experimenting with. But if you notice in this picture, no one has any stuff with them. That's why he chose this image to work with. There's no picnic baskets or radios or coolers or sippy cups. We just didn't have stuff. We didn't have as much stuff back then. But the idea here is that if you zoom into this image, you can see that this whole thing is made up out of soda cans. And so you zoom back out. The reason why he did this was, how many soda cans is that image made out of? Turns out it's about 106,000 aluminum cans in that picture right there. And that represents the number of cans used in the United States in how long? How do you think? How long does it take us to use that many cans? Well, that's every 30 seconds. That's how many cans that we use. That's crazy, right? Every 30 seconds, imagine that many cans get used. Now, this is kind of a dated image. You can barely see what's going on there. This was I think this was the first one he did. If you zoom in, I bet you can't figure out what these are because they don't look like this anymore. But as we get closer, you might see that those are flip phones. This was done in the early 2000s. So we zoom back out. That's a lot of flip phones. Now, he never took a picture of that many flip phones. What he did was he took a picture of quite a number of them, but then he would take hundreds of pictures and stitch them all together. Because if you took just one picture, your brain would see the pattern. So it takes a lot of time to make these big images. So how many cell phones do you think that is? That's almost 500,000 cell phones. So how long does it take for the United States to burn through 426,000 cell phones? How many people just are done with cell phones, and throw them out or put them in their drawer? How long do you think it takes? That's every day. Now that number might be changing now because people are starting to use their phones a little longer. So back when we had old phones, that probably was true. So here's one that's really impossible to see until you zoom in. And if you zoom in, I don't know if you can start to see what this is. Anyone have an idea of what that is? Those are reams of white paper, white office paper. When we had computers, we always thought we would use less paper. We actually use a lot more paper. So that's actually 30,000 reams of office paper, or about 15 million sheets. I think this year that number's going down finally because I'm not using any paper at all in my classroom. But how long do you think, before the pandemic anyway, it took us to go through 15 million sheets of paper in the United States? How long did it take? Every 5 minutes. That's how long it would take for us to go through 15 million sheets of paper. That's every 5 minutes, and that's an average. That's all day, all night. So obviously there's periods of time where we're using more and periods of time we're using less. Where does this go? And think of all of the stuff it's taken to all the resources used to make these things. So by the color, you might figure out what this one is. If we zoom in, you'll quickly start to recognize what this is an image of. Anyone can tell yet? What do you think that is? Yeah, those are plastic bags. Plastic bags. So if we zoom back out, in this image, that's a lot of plastic bags. That's 60,000 plastic bags. How long does it take us to go through 60,000 plastic bags? That's every 20 seconds. What? That's crazy. 20 seconds. Look at all those plastic bags. Every 20 seconds, we just burn through that many plastic bags. And again, that's an average. That's going all night long, 365 days a year. That's a lot of stuff. I want you to think about what that means. And this is just a few examples. But no one ever sees that many plastic bags in one spot. So it helps to actually visualize it so you can understand the enormity of the stuff that we use. Okay, this is the last one. And I like this one the best. This one has a little perspective to it. That's an ocean of something. Any idea what that's an ocean of? And if we zoom in a little closer, I think you can see that is an ocean of plastic bottles. Plastic bottles. We use a lot of plastic bottles. And this number is old. I try to update these numbers every year. How many plastic bottles do you think that is? That's 2 million plastic bottles. 2 million plastic bottles. How long does it take in just the United States to go through 2 million plastic bottles? Every 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes we burn through 2 million plastic bottles. I mean, that should blow your mind. I mean, are you serious? So I hope that these numbers just kind of affect you in a way that you haven't thought of before. The amount of stuff as a society that we just burn through every single day. And so we're going to do I was really inspired by this artwork. And like I said, he does a lot of other pieces on social equity and a lot of other things, and you should check him out. But I figured we can do the same sort of thing. So this is what some past projects my students have done. So the average American eats 96 1-ounce bags of chips per year. Now that's information that you can just find out looking online, but that's not very impressive, 96. So if we want to kind of extrapolate that to all of society, well, we just multiply that by the number of people that are in the United States. Turns out to be a big number, a number that's so big it doesn't mean anything. But if we can visualize it, it means something. So that's every 5 seconds. That's enough chip bags to stretch from Chapel Hill to Los Angeles. Every 5 seconds. Now those are small numbers, right? That's a distance that we just say from the United States to Chapel Hill, and the number 5. Those are numbers that we can really deal with. People think that we're not actually capable of understanding numbers higher than, some people say more than 20, that they're abstract. Certainly over 100, it starts getting crazy. But when you start talking about millions and billions, we know that there's 1,000 more than a million in a billion, but they're just big. So here's a really common statistic, straws. So about 500 million straws used every day in the United States. Used or not used, but they're thrown out. But that's such a huge number. So that's every day you could take those straws and you could wrap it around the world 2.54 times, just in the United States. That's crazy. What, are you kidding me? Are you serious? Curb cups. So this guy invented the curb cup. He actually hates them now and he fights against them because he didn't realize what a mess he was going to create. So these curb cups, every 4 minutes, the curb cups that get used would stretch from Wilmington to Los Angeles. Every 4 minutes. Every day, every night, every hour, just curb cups. The whole United States should be filled with curb cups before too long. Where does it go? So these are all good examples of projects that used real stuff and the ideas that I want you to do the same thing. Here's one more. There's enough toothbrushes thrown away in the United States to fill up more than 4 Empire State Buildings, just by volume, to fill it up. This is a great project because you don't need to know how many toothbrushes there are, because that's just too big a number anyway. But it can fill up 4 of those buildings, right? Every year. That's several landfills just for toothbrushes. That's crazy. And that's using a volume. So this project's called, Are You Serious? I used to have it called something like Communicating the Consequences of Our Consumerism. But everyone kept on saying, Are you serious? Because the numbers are just unbelievable. So this is what you have to do. First, you got to find a fact. You can find that online somewhere. For example, the average American uses 167 plastic water bottles, only water bottles, in a year. And so if you get a statistic like that, just on the assignment, make sure that you cite your source. Then you got to extrapolate it. You got to make it sound more, visual with the number of people that we have in the United States or in the world, or however you want to do it. So in this case, we just multiplied it out. 55 billion plastic water bottles every year. That is crazy, right? Now, you might just find a fact like this online, and that's fine as long as you cite your source. So you might skip number 1 and just go right to number 2. Then we got to visualize it. We got this huge number. We got to visualize it, all right? So we take that number, 55 billion, and we got to multiply it by the length, let's just say. So the length is 6 inches. That's a half a foot. So we just multiply that out, and now we get 27.5 billion feet, which is such a huge number. I just divided that by 5,280, and I got 5.3 million miles. That's a lot of miles. So now I got to compare that to something that I can understand. And that's such a huge number, we're going to have to do something with it. But with a number that big, I'm just going to go around the world because the world is 25,000 miles in circumference. So I just divide that and I get 208 times around the earth. That's crazy, right? Water bottles every year, 208 times around the earth just in the United States. But 208 is a number that's too big. I don't know. We can't really wrap our mind around that. So we can change it. We can change that number. Instead of doing a whole year, we can do every day, or we can do once around the world, right? So we can take that number, divide it by 365 and get per day. Or what I did was I just divided it by 208 to find out how many days it would take to go around the world once. And that was 1.75 days. That's a nice number we can visualize. So we use enough bottles in 42 hours, that's 1.75 days, to go around the world once, every 42 hours. Now, we've got that fact. Now we got to create some visual to explain that. And that's what I want you to do. You can do it on the computer. It'd be nice if you use the real material, and then you can just take a picture like I showed you those pictures. So have some fun with this. You can't pick any of the examples I gave. I don't want to hear of toothbrushes filling up the Empire State Building. Certainly not straws, because people have already done that. You got to find your own image and do that. There's plenty of things out there. Make sure you make it a kind of a throwaway product. Don't use food, things that are necessary. The idea with this project is to communicate how wasteful our things are. So we got to use something that is somewhat wasteful. Have some fun, and I will talk to you soon.